Brenda.
Yeah, I have a question for our Canadian friends. By the way, I really appreciate your being here. You're asking questions about Islam. This is really important. As you said, if we don't know each other, we really, it's a space for conflict. The question is Jesus is seen as a man of peace. He always taught to love your neighbor, love your enemy. And Muhammad, or Islam, is accused of being a religion of violence. How do you explain the message of justice and peace of Islam through Muhammad? What did he do? He wasn't like Jesus. He didn't say, he wasn't the same, he didn't have the same teaching. But he did have a message of peace in a different way.
Could we clarify something?
Yeah.
Jesus, according to the New Testament, is different than Jesus. So don't confuse the issue.
Okay.
Correct?
No. Okay.
No. Yeah, I just want to clarify the question. What is the
Friends always tells me, that Jesus teaches to love our enemy, to be a peaceful person. But in Muhammad and in Islam, we are seen as violent. We talk about punishment, we talk about...
Are you a Muslim?
Yes.
Okay, so you see the difference between the two.
Yeah.
What's your
about
question?
Our Canadian friends. How is Muhammad, did he carry the message of peace?
We could be here for the next 2 hours going around.
Okay, let me just...
Let him deal with it.
Let me just...
So.
Islam, as a notion, is peace. Islam, when you say Islam, it comes from a word from Arabic root, S-L-M, salama, what means peace, living in peace. So, Muhammad, peace be upon him, from the very beginning, from the start, promoted this notion of peace. Number two, every single surah, every single chapter that was revealed to Prophet, peace be upon him, started with the notion of mercy, kindness, and peace. Number three, all statements of Prophet, peace be upon him, that are collected in 6 books. Some of them are authentic, some of them are not so authentic. His statements are very much in tune with golden rule that you find in Christianity and Judaism. The only thing where we actually, when you take into consideration human relations in Judaism, Christianity, Islam actually goes on the same lines. And the only thing where we differ is in the personality of Jesus, peace be upon him. Personality. What is Jesus? But that's another topic. That's another topic. That's an issue that needs a lot of debates. And I'm a person who always goes into discussions on. Let's go first talk about similarities. Why? Because when we get an opportunity to talk about similarities, once when we start respecting one another and our similarities, we'll get a chance to talk about differences. But if we start talking about our differences, I'm telling you, we will never get a chance to talk about similarities. Because we will all pump up, we will all get angry, emotional, and we will not get a chance to talk about our similarities. So, my Prophet, as I see him, as I believe in him, is a suburban, human, social, peaceful, intelligent, pragmatic Prophet. My Prophet is an amazing role model who, in such a way, in 7th century, has been able to connect spiritual and physical to the level that nobody in history did. He, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as Michael Hart in his book 100 Most Influential Human Beings suggests putting him on the first of the list. He suggests very clearly it was Muhammad who has been able nicely in his own way to put this physical, secular, and spiritual together. And when I look through the hadith of Prophet, or through the statement of Prophet, peace be upon him, I cannot find anything but that. Because in his life, he would always promote there is a time for this and there is a time for that. Sa'a wa sa'a, meaning there is a time for spiritual aspect of human life and there is a time for the secular aspect. Example, in one of the ways the Prophet, peace be upon him, was preaching, one of the companions of his wife complained about him. She told Prophet, peace be upon him, you know, he fasts during the day and sleep and prays during the night. He fasts during the day and he, you know, prays during the night. So Prophet, peace be upon him, in his you know, 21st century style, goes to him and says, Ya Amr, I heard, you see, approach, Ya Amr, give him credit, I heard. He doesn't say from whom, I heard that you fast during the day and you pray during the night. He said, yes, Prophet of God. He told him, وَلِرَبِّكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا, your Creator has right on you. وَلِنَفْسِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا, your body has right on you. وَلِأَهْلِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا, your family has right on you. فَأْتِ كُلَّ ذِي حَقٍّ حَقًّا, and to each of these compartments of life, give their right. So what you see here, you see a balanced approach to living. And that is, nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about social aspect of my Prophet. Everybody talks about war. War is something what was inevitable at the time. My Prophet, when war stopped, what he did? He gave to Medina was called Yathrib. It was the most filthiest place that people could live. When Aisha radiallahu anha, when she entered Medina, she got sick. Why? Because there was no canalization, there was no way to see anything clean. So what he did? He was environmentally responsible Prophet. So what he did, he cleaned Medina. And that city was called Medina al-Munawwara, city of lights. After Prophet, peace be upon him, entered Medina, he digged wells. He was looking into infrastructure of the community. He was not looking, once when war was over, he was building, and he was building for everybody who wanted to build. He had a constitution that is called Medina Charter. First charter ever. What he did, he brought Christians, Jews, even non-believers. He brought them in. And they said, guys, let's go work together. I want you to go, just Google. And we talk about 7th century. We are not talking about Charter of Rights in Canada. We are talking about 7th century Charter of Right that suggests things that you would be amazed. And we talk about Prophet who worked on it. When everything stopped, he focused on building relationships. And that is what I think, where we need to focus on. My Prophet is the Prophet of peace. My Prophet is pragmatic Prophet. If you look into principles of his life, you'll be amazed. Look at this. He says, his wife tells, and actually, wife knows the best about men, am I right? She knows A to Z. When she was asked, Ya Aisha, tell us something about this man you live with. She said beautiful words. كَانَ خُلُقُهُ الْقُرْآنِ. He was a live application of the Quran. He was walking Quran on the face of the earth. What does it mean? It means that this Prophet, this man, it had certain principles. And one of the first principles that he had in his life is principles of ease. Look at this. She said, مَا خُيِّرَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ بَيْنَ الْأَمْرَيْنِ إِلَّا اخْتَارَ أَيْسَرَهُمَا مَا لَمْ يَكُنْ إِثْمًا. Whenever Prophet, peace be upon him, was given an alternative of two things, he would always choose easier one, as long as it was not a sin. Look at this. Condition is, as long as it is not a sin. That's the reason, example, why people call me, oh, this guy just gives people easy alternatives. Why not? My Prophet gave it. And I look from that perspective of easing situation finding alternatives, liberating possibilities for people in the community, specifically in the context like Canadian, where people have, you know, many challenges that they face in their life, from job. You know, I didn't say this. Many of you who immigrated to Canada, even though Canada welcomed us warmly, we went through challenge. We faced difficulties. We were thinking between back home and home, home and back home. We were thinking what to do, how to do. We were having problems, all family problems, no money. You know, if I tell you example that I was the youngest business person in Bosnia who had a lot of money, I didn't know what to do with money. I came to Canada 5,000 minus. I had to pay a ticket to those who brought me in. So you know, we face a lot of challenges when we come here, be they social, be they psychological. And I didn't tell you what I went through in Bosnia, what kind of trouble I went through. And many of these people who come to Canada right now, they're going through a lot of psychological disturbances, almost called earthquakes. And yet, many of them find way to come to the top. Okay.
Like the words you just explained about Muhammad living out very peaceful and respectful ways, it makes me wonder then, why is it that I'm hearing that Sharia law is wanting to be implemented into Canada? And
I don't want Sharia law in Canada.
well, I'm glad to hear that.
I don't want Sharia law. Look, I'm an imam. You hear. Where did you hear?
Just hearing about different populations that want to bring it in. I guess I live in the Hun Club area.
You see, I'll tell you. Sorry.
But if I could just finish,
Yeah, go
why
on.
I would be concerned with that is because I would have a real struggle as a human being if I heard a neighbor that was being beaten, male or female, and I called the police and they would say, I'm sorry, I can't help them because they're under Sharia law.
Oh, no, there is no such a thing. There is no, you see, beautiful law in Canada, excellent. I call it almost like, as I understand Islam, Islamic law. I just love social justice of this country. And I call Canada the most Islamic country in the world. You like it or not? Why? Because Canada upholds certain principles that my faith upholds. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I came here. All those, and I'll be very blunt, and believe me, I say this in the mosque too. I'm not having double talk. I don't tell you one thing, and then I go out there in the mosque and I tell them another one. Straightforward. No double talk.
You asked me where I heard it, and
Yes.
I was just remembering
Yes.
it was Dalton McGuinty in the liberal Ontario that was being approached to implement Sharia law.
These are individuals. These are individuals. Look, I know who are these people. They do not represent my community. They do not. Unfortunately, we don't have a pope. Unfortunately, we don't have a pope. We run on a different level. So because we don't have, you know, hierarchy, we don't have a person who sits on the top and approves or not approve. We are having many chiefs. And some of these chiefs are educated. Some of these chiefs don't have a clue of what they are talking about. Specifically what they are talking about within the context of Canadian society. These people still live in their village. And they even do not understand that their village progressed and changed. So we are seeing some of these people. Of course, are all Canadian imams up to date? No, they are not. Are all of them to the same level of understanding? Not at all. Do we have many of them? Certainly we have. What I'm suggesting is that most of us struggle and strive to bring this message. As far as Sharia, what was looked for, what I think what they looked for, that is interesting. They did not look for Sharia law. That's my understanding. They looked for family arbitration. That's what they were looking for when they were talking about Sharia law. It was taken out of context. Why they were looking for family law arbitration? because Christians and Jews, they already had it in Ontario. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, Christians and Jews, they already had. They had.
Yeah, the Jews had it, yes.
Yes, and they have been going through the family arbitration. You have been able to go to the church and arbitrate. So Muslims, some of them came forward. Even though myself, when I was asked about it at the early stage, I have very clearly indicated few things that are important to me if you are talking about Sharia law. Who would be implementing it? Who are the people who will be implementing it? Somebody who knows Sharia law well and doesn't know Canadian law? Not at all. I will never allow such people to implement Sharia law in Canada. Why? Because it is implemented out of context, out of Canadian context, and that totally un-Islamic. It cannot survive as such.
But why would it be acceptable in any culture?
You see, cultures are different. Cultures evolve. All cultures in the Middle East or somewhere else, they are going through the process of evolvement. And they will need time to change. Look at Afghanistan example. Just think about Afghanistan. 30 years plus of horrible situations. And do you think that their level of understanding what democracy is and Canadian level of understanding what democracy is the same? Not at all. It would take years and years, if not decades and decades, that we come on the same level of understanding what democracy is all about. We went there to bring emancipation, didn't we? Oh yeah.
A woman has the right to wear what she wants to wear. My question is, are you seeing a change in the family system that is allowing that girl to break away from that if she chooses? Or do you see that taking another couple of generations?
I have seen some parents trying to forbid young ladies to wear hijab. I have seen some parents struggling and threatening their children. They will kick them out of the house if they don't take hijab off. So it's
off?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's actually a story in Toronto.
I've seen it. Of course, there would be one or two or few individuals who will be maybe forcing their wives. There would be, but most of our ladies, they do it by their own choice. And there are obvious. Example, you go to Carleton University. You go to Carleton University, and you'll find out hundreds of Muslim girls who wear hijab. These are intelligent, smart, beautiful ladies. These are ladies who have chosen to wear hijab by themselves. It's their own conscious decision. So families sometimes will sit with them and talk about it. But again, at the end, it's their choice.
I just have to remark on this. How many have seen the cartoon where you have the woman in the hijab and then you have the girl in the bikini? Just raise your hand. Have you seen that? Where they're both criticizing each other, oh, poor her, and then oh, poor her. It is a matter of perspective, and as someone who considers and takes God very seriously in my own life, I don't like seeing women scantily dressed. I don't like women seeing prostituting themselves, just like I don't like men seeing themselves prostituted. And so I, for one, I'm not saying that women should cover themselves over, but there's an honor in the fact that people freely want to be reserved about their femininity. I commend them for that. And if you are a woman that wears a hijab, God bless you. I think that's beautiful. That's all I'm going to say. Now,
is a hot potato for the other religions. I presume it's also for Islam, which is homosexuality and sexual relations outside the marriage. I don't know how to do that in 2 minutes, but that's your problem, not mine.
well, no, it's your question.
Okay, so
that's fair.
That's the
So what is the question?
Well, how do you view homosexuality and sexual relations?
In all religions, homosexuality is sin. Am I right? It's a sin. Okay. Question is how we respond to that sin. There are many other sins that are that are out there. Question is how we respond to that. I was giving a talk in Douglas College in Vancouver, and a boy stood up and he said, "I'm a Muslim and I'm homosexual. If I will come to your mosque, would you kick me out?" Do I agree with him? No. With his choice. I don't. But I don't have a right to kick him out of the mosque. I don't have a right to excommunicate him, because there is no such a thing in Islam. The only thing that is concerned is we do not preach our styles. It's a bedroom stuff. We don't preach it within the context of the mosque. Rest, I don't judge anybody. Specifically, in Canada, there is also law. There are some legal issues, and we have to be concerned. Example, as a marriage officer, and I'll be again very frank with you. If I will have to perform marriage between two men, I'll refuse. I will give them my papers and say, "Excuse me, I don't want to be a marriage officer," because I do have principles that my country has to respect too. I am not violent towards anybody. I am not attacking anybody. I just have my principles, and I want somebody to respect me and my principles. Simple as that. Number two, sex outside marriage. Just like in Catholicism or other, it is definitely not acceptable. If people do it, they do it on their own accord, and they are responsible for it. And just as I'll be facing my God for my actions, they will be facing God for their actions. And that's the United States. So it is definitely not acceptable.
Next question will be.
May I add a point here? about
Make it
punishment?
very quick, and yes,
Yes.
you can. Very quick.
On the punishment of sex outside the marriage. Prophet Muhammad, it's a very harsh punishment, but the proof is so difficult to the point it's so hard to prove that nobody gets punished. And there is a story. Please tell them the story.
You see, if you are looking for the answer in Islam, you will find it. But if you are looking to attack Islam, you will find it too. There are so many evidences. Example, there are people who would punish people who do have sex outside marriage. But the question is, how do you know? What kind of evidence you have? That's the reason why witnesses are a must. 4 of them, to see the act. Yes, that's
In
it.
action.
Yeah.
In action.
Yeah.
Then you're a voyeur.
You want to get up here and speak.